Prize Picks is the most fun I've had playing daily fantasy sports this past season. All you got to do is pick 2 or more players, pick more or less on their statistics, and boom, you are in the game in 60 seconds or less. I'm looking at Monday night slate with Tampa Bay and Kansas City, and right now I'm looking at Baker Mayfield going less than 237.5 yards and Patrick Mahomes going more on 1.5 touchdowns. It's going to be a good battle, and as a Bucs fan, I love to see it. And you can sign up with Prize Picks and use our promo code UNFAIR, which is on the screen, and you'll get $50 instantly whenever you play your first $5 lineup. They make it very simple to play. Again, 50 seconds to 60 seconds or less, and you're going to get started. So check them out. Go to prizepicks.com and use our code UNFAIR to receive a guaranteed $50 once you play your $5 lineup. Prize Picks, daily fantasy sports made easy. Man, it feels good to be able to talk to y'all after an actual win. We're going to dive into that and more here on the Sooner or Later Sports Show. You got Coop, you got me, you got BC. Thanks for pulling up here on the YouTube channel and listening wherever podcasts are downloaded and listened to. While you're here, please wipe your feet, like, subscribe, rate, review. Give us 5 stars. You don't think we deserve it? Go ahead and give us 5 anyway and gift it. So we're going to jump right into it. We got a special guest. We got Brian Clinton from over there at Heartland College Sports and OU Insider joining us because we got to celebrate. It's a win, gentlemen. Coop, BC, how y'all doing today?
It's you're right. It's a win, and I want to start it off this way. We God blessed know it's Maine, but it was the game we had to play this week, and so we are going to talk about what happened. So before you hop in and you want to toss around the BC, it was just Maine. You still got to do it. You still got to run the right route. You still got to make the tackle. You still got to do those things. So, but yeah, it's good, man. This whole darkness outside is kind of, I'm not used to it yet. Not used to it yet.
BC, how you doing, man? How you feeling after this W?
Yeah, I'm good. Like Coop said, guys, there's still 11 guys on the other side of the ball trying to keep you from doing what you want to do. I mean, no, they're not the athletes you're going to see week in, week out, but Oklahoma still had to go out there. They still had to execute. And outside of the first 5 or so minutes of the game, it's pretty happy with everything. So, yeah, I'm liking it. Hey, and to be completely honest with you, sometimes I don't know who said this, where I saw it yesterday. Sometimes you just got to see it go in the bucket. Sometimes you just got to see it through, you know.
It was one of our favorite Sooner fans. I think Stephen Ballard. He was on the X-Bird. He said that exact thing. He's like, you know, after he slept on it, the first thought was, it's like basketball. Sometimes you got to see it go in the hoop. And we saw some things go in the hoop. Rush for 200 yards. You pass for over 250 yards. I mean, rush for 380 to total. But no, exactly right, BC. Sometimes you just got to see that it can work. That's it.
Right.
Like now, I think the whole season would have just completely been done at that point if we would have had, if it ended up worse than this. We would have been like, you know what? Yes, this is terrible. Like, there's nothing here. Like, there's nothing here. Nothing to see here, guys. Like Leslie Nielsen, nothing to see here. Everything's just exploding behind us. But we didn't have that. We actually had something where it looked like, oh, we destroyed a FCS team. Oh, okay, that's what we're supposed to do. That was in the agenda.
Yeah, I mean, other teams have lost to FCS teams in the past couple of years, and usually it's one of those early games. But you know what? Like you said, shoot or shoot, you got to keep on going out in there and play. And when we talk about some stuff, I mean, I think it was good to experience a little slap to the face early in this game.
Yes, I like that. It was Maine said that they want to win this game, and we were like, oh, we're gonna be lackadaisical, and then we're like, oh shoot, we probably need to turn this up. Let's go at least go 3/4 speed and win this game soundly. And then, of course, you saw the score go up really, 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 really fast, right? Like, as soon as they score, Javonte Bourne said, all right, guys, screw this. Get on my back. I got you.
Yep.
And he runs to 74. I think he scored the touchdown, but, you know, I'm going to let
give it to him, man. Come on. Like, give it to him.
You know, they said it the other day. Somebody was playing, and it was like, well, as long as you give me another snap to, stop at that point, you're like, come on now. Like, but it is what it is. It is what it is.
Yeah, it's what it felt like. It's like, okay, but they're gonna, just go do it, dude. Just go stomp them, and we did, and it was fun watching the offense feel like they were clicking. It felt like they had a little chemistry. Again, we know that it's Maine.
Yeah.
Everyone in the comments, we know this. All my Texas fans that come in here to troll me, we know. We're not oblivious. Our whole point is, it looked like something worked for a change. So, if anything, what I want to start off with is the youth movement that we saw. At one point in the game on the offensive side of the ball, we saw 5 freshmen playing on the offensive line, either redshirt or true freshmen.
Yep.
And I'm going to be honest, I was impressed that they did not give up a sack in this game. That was one thing I did fear. One play, and I'm going to pass this to you guys. I kind of want to get y'all's thoughts on it, but there was one play that made me say, I think we're going to be okay long term. When Jackson Arnold threw that 90-yard touchdown, if you watched it, when he scrambled out at right tackle was Isaiah Autry-Dent. And his dad actually sent me a picture. Supposedly he has a massive blister on his foot that burst during the game and it was hurting. So he was in pain most of the game, but he fought through it. I saw the picture of it. It's disgusting. I was like, why are you sending me this man's feet? It's gross. But anyway, I digress. But when Jackson scrambled, you saw Autry-Dent was engaged. In that situation, that's a great moment for a freshman to hold and ruin a big play. He didn't. He disengaged when he realized his quarterback was past him and he started chasing the player. That to me was my favorite play outside of EPL getting a personal foul for falling on a dude. Brian, how did you feel about the movement? What you feel about offense? And then Coop, take over to close us out on it.
Well, before I even do that, I will take it a step further. There was almost a complete drive where not only did you have all 5 guys playing along the offensive line were freshmen, all 11 guys on the field were either freshmen or true freshmen for a few plays of that drive where Xavier Robinson scores. So
that's true.
You're talking about an entire group, receivers all the way through and running backs, and then obviously you got Hawkins back there at quarterback. Honestly, I think the biggest thing I took from it was the physicality that a guy like EPL brings, because the one that sticks out obviously is the play where he gets the personal foul. But again, everything I'm going to say preface with the fact that it was against Maine, but still to the fact he blocked through the whistle a lot of times. He's nasty. He's one of those guys that you just kind of want to – you see him get after somebody, and that's what he wants to do. That was really promising. I think the thing that stuck out to me for the youth movement, I'm really excited about what Taylor Tatum is and will be for this program. Not enough people talking about X-Rob, dude.
Yo.
That guy, like – I mean, I don't want to call him like Tank Bixby yet or anything like that, but he is an SEC running back, man. Yeah. Like, he is bring the power to you. Like, I'm going to run through your chest. I love that. And it's going to be a really good combination for whoever. If you've got Taylor Tatum and Xavier Robinson as your 1-2 for the next few years, I think you're going to be okay.
Dude, I 100% agree. It's funny, pass to you, Coop, but every time X-Rob ran the ball, all you heard was a loud crack. Every single time.
Yep.
Oh, goodness.
It was. I mean, I even saw like the X-Rob series like on Twitter where a couple people had put that out there, but man, I've seen some. I saw some guys, and it's crazy because the way that the rules go now, it's like you kind of have to just risk your personal foul on the sideline, because some of these guys, like I saw one point where, did you guys see the play in the the South Carolina game where Lenore Sellers like stutter stepped, leaned down, and took a guy, the defensive back soul? Like, these guys are just going to have to do it on the sideline, because that guy kind of stutter stepped on X-Rob on the sideline. and he just leaned into him and shook him off. I'm excited to see, because it's what we haven't had the opportunity to do this season outside of Temple, is to get some young guys some opportunity. And it was another big play. I was pretty excited to see about is when you saw it was the Okoye personal foul roughing the passer. It was the pick by Powers.
Yep.
And it was so hard just being close to those two guys, because I saw it and I was like, oh, he's gonna get it, and then I see Powers pick it off, and I was so excited, and then they were like, but, and I was like, damn it. So it's good to get to see some of these young kids.
Yeah, it's funny to see, as you say that, you had Okoye get the personal foul from the passer that took away Powers' interception. Stone gets his first sack. Congratulations to him. He should have had his first one against Lenore Sellers in South Carolina, but as hard as he got on top of Sellers once again did the oop, oop, whoop, whoop, whoop on him and got underneath. But Grayson Halton did get the sack. So we got it, but it was like, dang, that was the one I thought Stoney was going to get. And then EPL, it's like all the young dudes were like, no, we're going to get light penalties. We're going to hit people. We're going to cause a lot of problems. We're going to be violent. I don't think I've ever seen that out of an Oklahoma team.
There's probably a lot of frustration, man. There's a lot of frustration with this team right now. It's palpable when you're talking to them. You can really tell it's like they're not oblivious to everything that's going on, And so, yeah, those young guys getting out there and making up. Somebody else to talk about too, Eli Bowen.
Oh, he's just
dude's a dog. I'm telling you, like absolute dog. His older brother obviously is the talent is there, the upside is there, but there is no little brother complex. I mean, Eli Bowen is an absolute stud.
Yes.
Yeah. I honestly, I don't know what PFF says. He's your best cover corner right now.
Oh, yes. It's not even a competition.
Yep.
Yeah, when I checked PFF, he's right now our highest graded. I think Robert Spears-Jennings is still floating up there. He had some down games, but this last game helped him get back to where his median was for the season. I think median-wise, he still is technically the best that we've got out there, because he's done everything from the forcing fumbles to getting the sacks to breaking up passes, jumping routes. Robert Spears-Jennings has done it all, but Eli has been really good.
I have a really funny story that's happened multiple times on Eli that I can just, you don't really get to see this on TV, but me being in the end zone, anytime that an offense is kind of coming towards the red zone and 23's out there, the fans are barking at 23 because he's a small guy. He's a little guy. Barking at him, 23, this is the SEC. You're not supposed to be out here, man. And I can't. There have been 2 or 3 times where he absolutely, just mirrored or stuck the guy at the line of scrimmage, or just absolutely blanketed him. And finally, at Ole Miss, I heard the same guy about 2 plays after he was calling Bowen out. He goes, "Oh, 2-3's actually a dog." He's first row right behind me, and I was like, "Yep."
I heard the exact same thing when I was in Oxford. So I was sitting in my section. I was sitting close to the end zone. I think I actually saw y'all walking around down there, but I had a bunch of Ole Miss guys around us, and that's what one person kept asking me. He was like, "Hey man, who's number 23? Like, is he done after this season?" And I smiled at him. I'm like, "Actually, he's a true freshman." He's like, "Are you serious?" I'm like, "Yeah, he's 6 games in. He's 6 games as a true freshman." He's like, "Dude, he's gonna be a problem." I was like, "Yeah, that's why we're pretty excited about him and his brother together, right? Like he has created a name for himself. But the beauty of it is next season you'll have him, you'll have Peyton. I'm assuming Robert Spears-Jennings will probably come back to play one more year just to kind of redeem the season, unless his grade says go day 2, late day 1. He may follow it. But then you'll get Kendall Doby back. So at secondary,
Jacoby
look
Jones
nice.
will be back again too.
And Jacoby, and then you saw Newcomb, Jeremiah Newcomb out there getting here this week too. And so
I like that.
There's another one.
Yep.
And listen, I'll just say this is we got another brother coming in of a current player, and I think he could be just like Eli, and that's Malik Hawkins. And I'm not too sure that he's not doing what Eli is doing right now. So the safety room and the defensive backs, those guys are young, and I know that there's going to be some gun-shy Sooner fans who are used to seeing guys flash really big early and then regress for the next 3 years. I don't think we're going to see any more of that. I think you're going to see guys, continually starting, to get better. So we're in a good spot in that backside.
It's funny you say that because there's two spots where I know fans have had a little bit of, I guess angst is probably the best word to say with it, has been corner and offensive line this season. That's basically where fans have their most complaints. And the one thing you realize is that corner and offensive line are filled with the most transfers. Everything else are recruits that either have been here for 4 or 5 years, or they're young players that are now playing they're in their red shirt freshman or freshman year or true sophomore year or whatnot. And that's what we're seeing with offensive line. And talking about that, I had a buddy ask me about that, and he's like, yeah, I know a lot of you had good predictions about the team and then everything fell apart. He's like, y'all are playing a bunch of young players though, right? I'm like, yeah, our 15-man depth chart, 8 of them are true freshmen or freshmen, or redshirt freshmen, or true sophomore. They're basically in their second season or less, exactly. And he was in shock. He's like, I did not realize y'all were that young. I was like, yeah, we unfortunately lost a lot of players in the portal that were older. So that's what we were expecting. But I digress on that. Defensively, but I think that's funny when I looked at that corner-wise. So Newcomb and Eli. And I think Newcomb, it's funny because when I look at him, he seems like he's smaller than Eli.
He came in small, but that's another dude that put on a ton of weight in his first year under Smitty. I mean, 25, 30 pounds. He looks good.
I think him and Hardy, Jaden Hardy also came in a little smaller than you anticipated, but he ended up he's trying to eat his way back up. But then you talk about those big 3, and BV talked about them in the last presser last week about Powers, Baba Yaga, good old Boganowski, the boogeyman, and Hardy. All 3 of them, they're tight. And the way that they play, they want to be on the field at the same time, which my anticipation is your 2 safety spots are Baba Yaga or Boganowski and Hardy, and then Powers is going to run Cheetah. That's going to be terrifying.
Yep.
In 26. Because that'll be the 26 lineup.
Yep.
That's going to be terrifying. Yeah.
Boganowski's going to take somebody's soul before probably before 26 gets here. I mean, that guy, my goodness, you can hear it live. Like, it's every time he comes down into the run fit, it's like you just kind of close your eyes and hope everybody's going to be okay.
And BC, that's not like one of the 11 on the other side of the team. That's one of the other 21 on the field because it could be his own man.
Correct.
But,
that's the other thing. It's not.
But this he had that one come up during the game, and that was the first time that it was just like one-on-one with a person moving a specific direction, and he gave that guy a stoplight, and it was beautiful. I mean, it was fun to see. You're seeing him out there a lot more because he's been playing the past couple weeks early in the game, not just at the end or when it's all settled.
Exactly. So. Good question popped in here from Stephen G. Thank y'all for pulling up. Hit the like button, new to the channel, subscribe, rate, review, give us 5, as well as check out our sponsor of the channel, Prize Picks. Links in the description below. Check them out at prizepicks.com. Promo code unfair. BC, got this question, so I think it's really good. Coach Clinton, why did J.A. and Hawk look more comfortable and more fundamentally sound than they have all year? And I want to extend that. Ole Miss, Jackson Arnold looked really good.
Yep.
I don't care what anybody says. He looked fantastic up until Jacob Sexton went out the game. And I get why things kind of fell apart for us because I just finished playing Ole Miss on College Football 25 today. Had to clear my mind, feel like to relax. So I decided to turn it on, right? I think Walter Nolan had 15 sacks in that game. I could not stop him from getting to me. Princely literally hit Jackson Arnold every 3 plays. Anytime I ran a screen, they were hitting me. Like there wasn't a single moment that I could just run backwards and they caught me constantly. So I want to know, from your view, how did you see Jackson Arnold from Ole Miss into this Maine game? How did you feel about them playing?
Well, to answer the question, the first thing everybody's going to say is it was against Maine, and that 100% is true. Like,
Yeah.
That is what it is. At the same time, you're not going to see a defensive line the rest of the season that is going to have the capability to just tear you up the way that Ole Miss did, the way that South Carolina did, the way that Texas did. I mean, like those defensive lines, they're among the best. And Tennessee, let's not forget what Tennessee's got rolling. Missouri and Alabama and LSU, those defensive line groups are talented. They're in the SEC. They're probably not to the echelon that those other 4 are to this point. I think the big thing, why these guys look comfortable. One, you were running the offense that you ran all spring, all summer, all fall camp, and then whenever you kind of hit the panic button midway through the season, start trying to change some things up, it throws a lot of confusion in. You got a quarterback change. Like, guys, it's not really that much of a secret anymore at this point. Seth Luttrell was running his rendition of Jeff Lebby's offense. Tell me that it didn't look like Jeff Lebby was out there calling plays yesterday and against Missouri and against Mississippi. Like that's really, I go back to the hire, honestly. Like, tough spot. I get it, the seniority, all of that with Luttrell. But the fact of the matter is, whenever Jeff Lebby left, he made it clear who he thought should be the play caller. He did. Straight up. And
yeah, you're right.
And the last 2 weeks have proved that point. I mean, love him or hate him, Jeff Lebby knows offense. He knows how to get things rolling. Joe John Finley's been around with him for a long time. Guys, things have just looked more fluid the last 2 weeks. And if this was just against Maine, I think my guard would be up a little further than it is. But the fact that they showed what they did, I mean, guys, sack adjusted rushing yards against Ole Miss, 203.
Yep.
5.3 a carry. That's going to get it done. And that's against the top rushing defense in the country. So, really what it boils down to, why did they look more comfortable? I think it has to do with they're comfortable with what they're being asked to do. It's been the same thing that they were used to running in the spring. And for Jackson, it's something he ran last year. And on top of that, your quarterback's coach is actually a quarterback's coach. This isn't a slight on Seth Luttrell. The man knows football. He's done a lot for Oklahoma. But he has never coached quarterbacks, and he was being asked to do that. Kevin Johns has been around for a while. He knows his way around that position, and I fully believe with how much they've been focusing on fundamentals, those guys are probably way more comfortable doing what they're doing with that kind of guy teaching them throughout the week. So I think it's a combination of things, but it is a result of what they're seeing during the week.
I think it's fascinating to add to that too. Of course, the biggest pushback that everyone gave on the Seth Luttrell piece is, why would you have a fullback out there trying to run plays and stuff? People fail to realize that Jeff Lebby's offensive lineman, right? Andy Koltanecki, the one everyone loves up there at Penn State, he's an offensive lineman, right? He's a former center. Yep. So it's not, and they both are quarterback coaches. So it's not, it's about your ability to do it. You don't have to have a quarterback be the quarterback coach or former one. Sometimes it's better that way, but we saw with Jeff Lebby as a offensive lineman, he knows what he's doing. Same thing with with AK up there at Penn State, Andy Koltanicki. He's really good at it, and he's a former offensive lineman. It's all about the skill set. And, we saw what Latrell did when he was at North Texas. Mason Fine, he killed it. So we wish that it would have been a lot better, but we realized that it wasn't. You can tell that it seems like he was more of a pain in the butt than he was actually really coaching everything. So the good thing is we got Kevin Johns, former quarterback and quarterback coach, who's actually doing it, and they do look comfortable. So I appreciate that. Shout out to Lee Bird for the $4.99. We appreciate that. Boganowski loves to hit people. Line his ass up at tight end. Brian Clinton kicks ass. You all kick ass. Keep kicking ass. We appreciate that, Lee. We appreciate that because we're all trying to kick ass like crazy. Cool. What jumped out to you about Jackson Arnold's play, not only from Maine, but also Ole Miss? Because I really do feel like it's a different person this week.
It is, and you can say the first half of Ole Miss, it looked functional, right? And then how much better could it have been if we could have just punched in that first opportunity? But you saw times even against Temple, Houston, Tulane, where Jackson just was looking like, he looked like he had no idea where anything was coming from, no idea the route concepts, no idea of any of those things. And it looked like, I said it, I think, after the South Carolina game, that if you compare what Hawkins looked like against South Carolina and just at playing quarterback, and then what Jackson looked like when he came in against South Carolina, it looked like a quarterback who kind of understood how things were going on out there, not an athlete playing. Yeah. And it's no knock on Hawkins. It just looked better when he came back in. And we saw it happen with Spencer Rattler the year that he got pulled out in OU Texas game and he went back in. Not the Caleb Williams year, but it was Austin Kendall or Mordecai that year. I think
Mordecai.
Mordecai. Okay, so he because Austin Kendall was in a quarterback competition with Kyler Murray. But I digress. He just looked like he had a better understanding. And let's be honest. If you're playing against this defense, you go out there against Tennessee, you go out there again, with all the offensive line issues against earlier in the season. You've just got no faith to let things kind of play out. And you saw them make a really good effort to get the ball in the wide receiver's hands this week. And listen, man, I give your boy Hester props for the 90. Dude still almost dropped it. He still bobbled the damn ball. He fights the football more than any wide receiver I've ever seen in my life.
Look. He didn't drop a single pass in this game. He may have bobbled 3. He caught them all. That's all that matters. The end result is the most critical component on the field. I don't care if he flipped it around 5 times. If he catches it and it counts as a catch, boom, the agenda continues.
Dude, it is like what I did at OU Texas, where instead of going in the gate and turning right to our section, we went entire stadium. That's what I feel like Hester is trying to do. But anyway, I love Jackson. You've seen the attitude, the running backs, getting off, and Javonte. Listen, everybody who was ready to kick Javonte Barnes off the team, in the summer and in the spring, where would we be without him right now? That's we might be beating up an 18-year-old kid, before he's ready to go. So. Man, I'm really, really happy about how Jackson looked like. He looked like he was in control. He looked like he knew what was going on, and he didn't look like he was out there just hoping that something good happened or something terrible didn't happen. And I think that going into this next game, you get yourself to go, all right, guys, this is what we thought this was going to look like, and now we can go in with some confidence against Missouri. And it is more about what you're doing going into Missouri rather than what happened on Saturday. It is, you saw the ball go in the hoop a few times. You saw Javonte Barnes get out there on the edge. You saw Taylor Tatum in there. You see X-Rob, and you see some of the stuff that he is capable of. And also from the offensive line standpoint is they didn't watch their sack allowance go up again this week. So they didn't have to hear about was it a true 6 sacks or was it 10 sacks or anything like that? Like it was a 0. So like I
was it
think
19 sacks in 2 games? Jesus
or
Christ.
25 and 3 is what I think that they showed during the broadcast. So, and man, yeah. So I mean, that's it. Yeah, it's Maine, but at the same time, like this, we keep on waiting for when is the defense going to break. And I think that, and I said this earlier, was, I think just for this whole team, I got to give it up to them because they could. I mean, there's none of us that would be like, we don't think you guys should be giving up this early. Like this team could have given up multiple times. So I'm very, very, very glad to see that they got some success. And now you can walk into this next week going, guys, we can do this because on the offensive side of the ball.
Yeah, like just to reiterate that point, guys, look no further than what Jackson Dart just did this week.
Exactly.
I mean,
what
Arkansas. Jeez.
My good. I mean, and Arkansas, like, let's give them props. Like, they had Tennessee right there. I mean, they've looked good throughout the season, and or they beat Tennessee, right?
They did beat Tennessee.
Okay.
That was the one game they won.
Yeah. Guys, like, he just hung 500 yards on that. Like, again, it's all relative, and you kind of have to look at it that way. But for Oklahoma to go on the road, I thought after the 21-0 deficit at South Carolina, that was the day that I realized Brent Venables wasn't just blowing smoke. That this group really does have the right kind of guys with the right kind of mentality on the defensive side of the ball, because they absolutely, that game, if the defense decided they were going to play like the offense was, that game would have been way worse than it ended up being. I mean, they played I believe they only gave up one scoring drive that didn't start in Oklahoma territory in that game.
And Tennessee also.
Yes, exactly.
Yep. It has been. And like you said earlier, why I think that's important, and I think I just 100% cut you off, BC. I apologize.
You're good.
But I wanted to get to a point that you made earlier, because I looked at this yesterday, is in the as far as the SEC goes, yards per game rushing, you got Alabama's 3rd from the bottom, Missouri's 5th from the bottom, and LSU is 6th from the bottom. So now you've got teams who you're going up against. We've already played Tennessee. We've already played Texas, South Carolina, Auburn, and those are all up above them. And so, I mean, you're walking into, an opportunity with some momentum against some of these teams that don't do very well. I mean, as well stopping the run. Again, still SEC, still SEC bodies, and it's still are very young and troublesome offensive line. But they now have a little bit of confidence.
Yeah, that's true. And you're talking about defense. I got to point this out as far as the top defenses going into this week. It'll be adjusted once Pick 6 previews drop this. But shout out to Lee Bird with another $4.99. We appreciate it. Hester kicks 3/4 ass. Right? And so I gave you your additional 50 characters. I appreciate that, Lee. Thanks a bunch. But no, so here's a number for y'all. Listen to this. Pick 6 previews dropped this on Halloween. And it was the top defenses in the Power 4. Opponent adjusted per play defenses. And when I looked at this graphic, I was like, you're lying to me. And this basically told me, we do need Brent Venables. Now he needs to figure out what we're going to do on offense, because here's your top ones. Number 1 in the country is Tennessee. 2, Ohio State. 3, Notre Dame. Number 4 is Texas. 5, Oregon. 6, South Carolina. 7th, Penn State. 8, Georgia. Washington's number 9. BYU's 10. Let me give you the top 15, though. Number 11's Pittsburgh. 12's Cal. 13th is Ole Miss. 14, Alabama. 15, Oklahoma. In the all the Power 4, with opponent adjusted based upon the per play, we're a top 15 defense, and every team we lost to was top 15. Yeah. Like, we didn't go up against teams that had bad defenses that couldn't figure anything out. No, we went up against the top defenses in Power 4 football. That's telling me that, and this is what makes it funny, Tennessee's been struggling offensively since they got into SEC play. Ole Miss was struggling up until the Arkansas game. Alabama, besides Georgia, has been struggling with offense in SEC play. Texas When they played Georgia, they struggled, right? They played a really good defense. They struggled.
The only
What it
one
is
the only one in that top 15 that Texas has played to this point.
exactly. You have to have.
Well, I guess us too.
Right. You have to have a defense. Exactly. Fair. Right. We just kind of gave up after the first quarter, but I digress. You got to have a defense to survive in the SEC, and that's exactly what Venables built. Unfortunately, he didn't get rid of enough people on offense early enough, but I digress. We'll talk about that another day. Top rush defenses. Listen to this. Power 4, opponent adjusted per play, pick 6 preview. Shout out to them on the X-Bird. Number 1, Ohio State. Number 2 is Tennessee. Number 3, Oklahoma.
Yep.
4, Nebraska. 5, Notre Dame. South Carolina's 10th. Ole Miss is 8th. Georgia's 9th. Texas is 17th. Point being, as both gentlemen have pointed out to everyone, you got to have a defense to survive this conference.
Yeah.
And the good thing for us now, we're not going up against the best defenses in the conference anymore. We're getting past that, except for Bama. Bama's going to be the one, but LSU is not. I don't think LSU is in the top 43rd in defense in the country per play.
And LSU gives up less yards per game rushing than Alabama does. And now that's maybe because Alabama forces teams to throw the ball to play catch up. But
LSU's 26th in rush defense, opponent adjusted per play.
I will say this. This is the telling stat from against Maine. I was more happy about our offense than what our defense put out on the field. And I think that our defense, I mean, they literally, we had biggest joke of a defensive, delay a game call I've ever seen in my life. With Kip Lewis trying to get somebody's attention. Did you hear Gabe's take on that?
I haven't watched him today.
So he says, after the call, I walked right to the field and I asked an official and I said, "What was the penalty about?" And he says, "It was delay of the game because linebacker clapped." And Gabe goes, I looked him straight in the eye and I said, "So he got a delay of the game for clapping?" And he said the official's response was like, "Yeah, that shouldn't have been like it's just eyes." Like, so, I mean, again, but you still, you had, a play where Trace Ford, crashes way too hard on end around linebacker didn't sink enough, and he gets around the edge, and the guy in motion has the safety 1-on-1 or the defensive back 1-on-1, and it turns into a big, and then you get a late call. So what happens after that? Defense now has to have their attention. Our offense doesn't shit the bed and turn around and give the ball back to the other offense, and it was over from that point on. But it's again, I was more happy with the offense this week than I was with the defense. And the defense, all they did was go out and pitch a shutout for 9/10 of the game.
Yeah. What we've been asking for.
Yeah.
Yeah. I will say this: it's hard to see it from the camera lens, right? Like, it's hard to really watch the game and see how everything plays out through the camera lens. But going back and watching it, I always try to get at least 1 or 2 rewatches in before the week starts. And man, Oklahoma ran base defense like 98% of the time. Like, I think they brought 5 once, and that was when Eli Bowen should have had a sack, but the tight end just grabbed him from behind and kept him from hitting the quarterback. So to me, what was promising about that, what's good about that is that to me there was just a lot of fundamentals this week, and that's really where Oklahoma has been hurting themselves. I think the frustrating thing for me out of this game. You can't have 6 penalties for 65 yards. Like, the young guys, some of those penalties you're really not going to get on them for. But like those are the kinds of things that you want to have cleaned up going into a game like Missouri. But all in all, this was exactly the kind of game Oklahoma needed. Thank God for Cupcake Week. Like that's exactly what I used to think, God, yeah, like I remember just being in the Big 12. I'm like, man, like that must this is why would Mercer and Alabama be playing in Week 10? That is dumb. And now
Yep.
I'm like, oh my God, if they didn't have this game, can you imagine?
It's like a second or third bye week that you get, because the best part about it is, you, as we mentioned at the beginning of the show, you got to play a lot of young dudes.
Yep.
And in some of these guys' situation, it's their first time getting to play, at this level.
Yep.
You just need to see if they're ready to run the plays, if they're not going to make the mistakes. Isaiah Archie-Dent's perfect example. We've lost both Jakes. Michael Tarkin's down, right? All you got now is Logan Howland and Spencer Brown. And so that's all you got on the line. You got to start seeing if the young guys are ready. Right. You got to see who's ready to play. And so now you can throw him on the field in a game that he doesn't have to. He's got to exert enough energy, but he doesn't have to be completely perfect. He can make a few mistakes and survive. That's what you need. That's what you need, games like that. And so I've understood why Bama would have Mercer the week before playing against Auburn, right? That's an opportunity to rest their bodies in preparation for an extremely physical game where they're going to play against people that hate each other. That's a good thing for us. This was our second bye week. We prepared for the trip to Missouri. We get an actual bye week, and then Bama comes to town. And for them, they're actually playing a cupcake the week before they play against us, which kind of sucks for them because they play LSU, they got a cupcake, then they have us, and then they got Auburn. Which, it's going to be nasty. That's nasty work on their schedule. And they did them a little dirty on that one. But I get it. I am 100% understanding. Now, when we go to the 9-game schedule, which that's probably going to come in 26, I'm anticipating. Whew. Nasty.
Yep.
It's going to be nasty.
Hopefully we can get some help from the people who made Texas's schedule. And
we should. It should be a flip at that point.
Get all the top 15 in the. But I mean, you guys, let's just be honest. Like, this college football season has been absolutely crazy. Who had Houston beating K-State on their bingo card this week? Houston's now 4-5. They're 3-3 in the Big 12. I mean, this is one of the reasons why you go to the SEC, because what are we sitting here looking like maybe in the Big 12 right now? Are we just, do we have 2 less losses, 2 more wins, feel better about ourselves, but, not going anywhere as a program? Like I said, I think that if we had wide receiver health this year, we would probably be more pissed off than we are right now, because the same issues on offense would have continued to happen week in and week out. But now you get a chance to make an adjustment to your football team, in a year to where you kind of have to punt anyway. So, but yeah, I will say this: defense, ran complete base.
They looked like it was vanilla. It looked like they were just in zone the entire time.
It's a couple of things that I was pretty happy about, and Gabe and Teddy pointed this out, so I got to give them a heads up since they said it first. But I was watching the ends because I was just kind of watching like the difference between PJ and RMT, and I got to say that R. Mason Thomas didn't do a ton this week, but he affected damn near every play that he was in on. He has become an actual defensive lineman, a defensive end, and his technique and his pad level are so good that, I mean, there were multiple times. I mean, his tackle was going off on the officials a couple different times because he was getting under and just basically lifting him up in the air. And what happens? Defensive lineman right next to him crashes in, sends the guy running out to the other side. So, I mean, I was really, really happy with him, and great to see David Stone, but that interior defensive line just continues to do such a great job. And so, I'm excited. I'm excited for this week. I'm excited for Missouri because, you know what? I think that these guys do believe now, hey, we can go in here and we can actually do this. This is, we can do enough on both sides of the ball to come out with a W.
And that's what you want them to feel, that they've got enough to be able to go out there and get the W. The Missouri game is going to be fun. The Missouri game is going to be a true test. I saw the spread. I think it was Circa dropped it, and then a few of the other sites have been dropping the spreads on it. 2.5 is what the consensus really is.
Yeah.
I saw even a point favorite on one of them, which I thought that was kind of interesting. They really don't believe in Missouri.
Well, I think that's kind of a tell on Brady Cook.
Yep.
Like they don't Missouri fans don't sound real confident that he's going to be the guy that trots out there. So
I saw the play, and I saw like 2 or 3 fans basically say, "Yeah, I think that thing's broken."
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know, guys. You mentioned the Big 12 a second ago with Houston pulling off the upset. With me being a Big 12 guy, I don't really get to talk about this stuff a whole lot on OU Insider, but guys, if you just like crazy, if you're just a football fan, just a straight up college football fan,
and want to see chaos,
you have got to watch some Big 12 football this year.
Yeah.
And there's only one way for me to tell you how insane this is. I have been keeping up with this throughout the year, and it's just nuts. In conference play, I've got my little post-it note here. In conference play, underdogs, straight up. Underdogs are 20 and 24, straight up, in Big 12 play. Betting underdogs. So they have won 20 of 44 times, and against the spread, underdogs are 26 and 17 and 1. It is absolute chaos every week. And that
no one has a clue what's going on there in the Big 12.
No.
See, Iowa State lost, Kansas State lost, which the Iowa State one was the weird one. They were at home.
Yes.
And they let Tech walk in and
off a bye. Off
a bye.
Yep. That one was wild.
If they don't be careful, Colorado's going to win the conference.
Hey,
I've been calling it. I've been telling folks.
I'm
I
telling
had Colorado
you,
at 9-3. They may go 10-2 and win the conference.
I will eat crow on that, because at the beginning of the year, I was thinking to myself, there is no way the way that these guys look on the offensive line still. And they have gotten better and better every week. And I mean, legitimately, I think they're favored in the rest of the way.
I think they are.
But
they're favored this week against Texas Tech, which that's a game I have to watch. That's going to be interesting. But
if you're not liking where you're at as an Oklahoma fan, you could be your in-state rivals. So just be thankful for that. I digress.
Yeah. But yeah, in speaking of that, that spread basically tells us it does appear that Vegas doesn't even believe that Brady Cook's going to play in this game.
Yep.
They don't think he's going to be out there. And I can't wait until Wednesday's report to come out for it to show him as probable or doubtful or some BS, when we're going to be like, nah, dog, just say he's out. We know. We saw the hand.
Yep.
We saw the situation. He's also got a messed up ankle. Got shot up his ankle the week before to get him to finish that game, which, bravo to you all. You won the game because of it.
Yep.
Shout out to you. Got yourself bowl eligible. But yeah, he doesn't sound like he's coming back anytime soon. But they're coming back this season is the goal, is for him to be here hopefully for the last couple of games. Who do they have to wrap the season up? Is it anybody even worth anything to talk about? I
think they only played like 2 ranked teams at the beginning of the season, so I can't see it being anything different.
Yeah, well, yeah, they beat Boston College when they were ranked, kind of a flukish one. They barely beat them. Then A&M whooped up on them, and so did Bama. At Auburn, that game they shouldn't have won. That they should not have won. That was the game where they should not have won. That Auburn. What are we doing, Auburn? Anyway, but they have South Carolina after us, and they travel to South Carolina.
That's be tough.
Oh, Beamer has saved his job. Shout out to him. Shout out to Shane, former Oklahoma coach.
Proud of him.
So proud
of him.
Because
they should have beat Bama, OU Texas week.
Yeah, they really should have.
This entire narrative in the SEC looks different if you got South Carolina running around after a Bama win, and I think that's where a lot of us got a little fool's gold feeling after that game. And
they lost to LSU, Burley, and that game was flukish, right? Pick sixes and BS. Ole Miss beat the crap out of them. Unfortunately, that was just they just got their butt kicked. Bama was a close one, like you said, and then it was, of course, us, and then that's when they're moving up. They got Vanderbilt, then Missouri. They travel to Nash Vegas though.
Hey, listen, it's I might take South Carolina on that game.
Probably so. South Carolina's a 3-point favorite in this game on the road right now. Opening spread's 3.5. That's an interesting one. Yep. But then they have Missouri the following week. Hey, man, I don't know if I want to bet against Diego Pavia. But I'm not betting against Diego Pavia when he's playing against Hugh Freeze. That dude has embarrassed him 3 times in a row, which I cannot believe he's lost to that same dude. He has haunted him every season the last 3 years. Like, what do you do? Bad. The SEC has been a lot. It hasn't been as wild as the Big 12, but it hasn't been a lot wilder than we expected. I didn't think LSU was going to be as good as they are, even though they lost to A&M. Didn't expect A&M to be as good as they are. Like, I think that they're still the story, even though they just got their butts kicked. They're still the story. Like, A&M, Elko walked in and did that.
Yep.
Hey, man, we all knew that you get a coach in there and somebody was going to have some success.
The moment that they hired Elko, I was like, oh, frick. Like, because that's a football guy. Like,
that's a good hire.
Yeah.
But you still, they still got to find a quarterback. I think Reed he's got some things going in, and he looks like a big athlete out there, but still, I feel like A&M is just a few steps away. Now let's see what they do, against Texas, because right now, I just don't know what to think about A&M. I have zero thoughts what to think about A&M. Now, if I was an A&M fan, last week they were going to be the new Alabama. This week they want the program halfway shut down. So, just another passionate fan base here in the United States.
Exactly. No, for A&M, the only thing, whenever they did the hires, it's the same thing. I was like, oh crap, they got Elko, but it was the smartest hire because he only been gone for 2 years. He basically went back to his same defensive players that he had been recruiting, who are now juniors and seniors.
You just fast forward the development.
Yes, he's like, he didn't have to sit through it. He just hit the fast forward button and came back. Like, all right, guys, you're now mature. You understand how football works. Now you're ready to actually play some football. Let's put the principles in that I taught you as freshmen and sophomores, and let's go execute. And they did. Now, unfortunately for them, though, South Carolina is playing some absurdly good football on the defensive side of the ball. That's basically where they shut them up. Second half, A&M couldn't score. And like you said, Brian, you said it as well as you, Coop, we got to figure out who their quarterback is. They don't have a quarterback situation. It's going to help them long term, but we'll see what they look like end of the season. That's going to be fun. If they go out there and muscle their last 2 games of the season and win it like Michigan was winning last year, I'm just going to sit back like Antonio Banderas. Nice smile on my face. I just want to see just beat them up, just punch people in the face. But anyway, besides that, looking at it's funny. I was looking at the linebacker room. I had a couple people hit me up and ask me about like Phil Picciotti and James Nesto, whatnot. Our linebacker room going into 25 and 26, we're pretty good there.
Yeah,
kind of happy. Yep. That's the room. If I'm the most satisfied with, is that one, and I'm so happy with that because this defense requires great linebacker play. We're in great hands.
Best linebacker on the team's coming back next year. I'll say it like
that's no shot at Stutzman either.
No, it's not. I'm telling you, 10, dude. If 10 gets 15 pounds heavier,
he's Levante David. Like
My
that's who
goodness,
he's
man.
going to be.
Yeah.
Like, it's man,
You're not wrong.
he's so much better. I mean, listen, at this point last year, we were saying if Dude could just literally get above 215. Now we're sitting here saying like, all right, now Dude has like a legitimate chance to. I mean, it's kind of like how when Rocky, was very, very, he was the best player on our team, and then here comes Teddy, and you're like, you felt like saying Teddy was better was going to be like blasphemous.
Right. Yeah.
It's kind of the same thing, but I'll say that like I still believe Danny Stutzman is one of the. I mean, he's rivaling Baker for the current generation of like Mount Rushmore Sooners.
Yeah.
He really is. And right now he's what 221 is what they have him listed at. I think on ESPN has him list 221. Our sheet has him at about 215.
Yeah.
If he gets to 230.
And I think he could hold it. He's got the frame, he can
Especially,
move.
Guys, and the NFL is not the same thing. Yes, Alabama can throw out 250-pound linebackers, and NFL people are going to like that. But that kind of thing that's not how this NFL is. You need to be able to play pass coverage. You need to be able to run and not just come in and thump. You need to be able to run and be versatile. And if you're 250 running a 4.6, it ain't gonna help much. And so Kip Lewis is the type of guy who Kip Lewis. A lot of people keep on saying on broadcast that Danny is Danny is a potential first-round draft pick. I've heard it 3 or 4 weeks in a row. Where I don't believe that he'll be a first-round draft pick, I expect second or third, and I think Kip Lewis really actually does have the capability to maybe slide into the top of the first round.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's that a lot of the mocks have been lately pushing Stutzman up into the mid to late first round between like 18 and 25 is what I've been seeing a lot of lately. And I think that's where those brackets are coming from. But I agree with you. I think he can be a late first, possibly early second, just because of his body of work of being smart. He does a really good job. A lot of teams are now transitioning into more of a run defense, of running down your throat because everybody's going too safety high. Because you're right, coverages are critical, especially at the linebacker spot. But Mahomes is showing us now all I'm going to do is dink and dunk because you won't let me go deep anymore. And some teams that's how they're defending it, or they're just running down your throat like Philadelphia. They just run it down and make you tell you, stop me from running. Same thing with Baltimore. Show me that you can stop me from,
Finish your thoughts.
Show me you can stop me from running the ball down your throat.
Yeah.
That's basically what I'm saying.
And whether you brought up Philadelphia, did you guys catch the Saquon?
That was stupid. That was illegal, and I'm reporting it.
That dude's different, man.
That's like when you're watching Superman movies and they're like, "No, you can't go play football." Well, why, Dad? Because you're much more gifted than everybody else around you. Like that was that type of moment. Like it was
really
silly.
was.
When you're squatting 600 pounds, like those are the kinds of things you can do when you're quadzilla like that. Like, man.
It was just so dumb. A friend of mine said to me, I'm watching Red Zone, and I see it. I'm just like, okay, I don't think I saw that. A friend of mine sent it to me. I went back and rewatched it. NFL's Twitter. I'm like, he really did that. Like that's like legitimately what he did. I've never seen anybody turn around and jump backwards like that and still land and keep going. Shout out. Hey, Blaine Child, shout out to you. Thanks for the $10. DG gonna win the Heisman and the Natty. We wrap up with that. Y'all think Oregon's got a chance of winning it all? Think they've got the muscle or the firepower to do it?
Here's what I think is Dylan Gabriel will win the Heisman if Ashton Jonty, Travis Hunter, Shador, and Cam have 2 or 3 bad games apiece. Nobody wants to give Dylan Gabriel the Heisman. He's averaging like 6 yards of completion. It's dink and dunk. I understand it. They're undefeated. Oregon is going to have to show me that they can do it against big time competition multiple weeks in a row, and we've never seen it before. I still don't think that this national championship does end up somebody in the SEC.
Yeah, I'll say this: if Miami goes undefeated, the quarterback that will most likely win it is going to be Cam Ward. the other players, Genty, Travis Hunter, they're both possibly going to do something we haven't seen before or in a very long time. Or because technically everybody's calling this a very weak quarterback, quote unquote, draft and a weak quarterback just season when it comes to like Heisman. Nobody's just blowing up the numbers. I mean, Jackson Dart just threw for 500 yards, but does anybody really think Jackson Dart's the best quarterback in the country? Right? There's so many questions in that capacity. So if Travis Hunter gets 1,000 yards receiving and 100 catches with double-digit touchdowns and he gets enough interceptions, like maybe 6 or 7, he's probably going to end up winning it because we just never seen it before. It's ridiculous. It's absurd. Wait, he's playing 100 snaps a game and he's actually performing late in the games? You got to give it to him. Genty, if he keeps running like this and he gets 26, 27 in rushing yards and 30 touchdowns, it's his.
Yep.
You ain't holding it away from him if he breaks Barry Sanders' record, because that was the thing. Melvin Gordon got close. I think he had like 2,500 yards in his season, but he didn't have anywhere near the touchdowns that Barry Sanders had, because Barry had like 37.
Yeah.
If you give me a running back with 30 touchdowns in the season and get close to his in yards, yeah, they're going to get it. Because you don't get that often. You don't get 30 touchdowns from a running back like that. So keep that in mind when we're talking about Heismans. You got to do something that's absurd. I mean, Baker and them won it because they got like almost 50 touchdowns in the season, 46, 47, or 50 total. That's what Burrow got it for, right? If you're not doing something at that absurd level at quarterback, then it's going to go to another position.
Yep. Yeah. I'm kind of, for me, I think the finalists would have to be Genty, Hunter, and probably DG right now. And I think Cam Ward's going to be up there at the end of the year too. Because I mean, there's just right now he's playing. He is just willing that team. I mean, Miami. Let's be honest. Miami is 2018 Oklahoma right now. Like
They just really are.
Like I mean, it's Kyler Murray running around making plays, and then how long am I going to have before I have to go out there and do it again?
Yeah. They've given up 31, 45, 38, 34.
Yep.
It's literally all it is. It's Cam Ward and the Pips doing everything. He's got really good wide receivers, but truth be told, he is just figuring it out on his own. He's thrown for 3,100 yards and 29 touchdowns. If he gets up there in the 40-something touchdown range and he throws for another 4,000 yards like he did in 2021 in Incarnate Word, yeah, there's a really good chance that he ends up in New York too. But Dylan's he's doing well. They're winning. He's just not putting up a bunch of numbers. That's what hurts his Heisman bid.
Oh, and I think I will say this: Oregon's got as good a shot as anybody, because I think this is the first time. This is the first time that I can remember in years that I cannot tell you that there is a team head and shoulders above the rest of the field. Like they're typically there is one or maybe two teams that are just head and shoulders above everybody else. 12-team playoffs can be fun. Like Oklahoma's not going to be a part of it, like unfortunately, but
knock on wood, we might get lucky.
It's going to be fun. Hey, I'll tell you what. Before you close this out here, the Missouri game. That one's been a long time coming, as far as the smoke goes, right? Like there's been a lot of talk back and forth. I don't know that I'll be able to talk with you guys about the game before it happened. But sounds like it feels like you might get a guy or two back at wide receiver for that game. You're kind of hoping.
That's the rumor. We're crossing our fingers and toes. Hopefully Wednesday sounds good for us.
Yep. That's kind of what I'm thinking. Sawchuk was. We'll see. He might be back this next week. It sounds like he's probably on the track to do that. But I'll say this: if it's Drew Pine out there at quarterback,
that's probably the most likely thing.
Yep. I'll take the Sooners on that.
We will still see two quarterbacks regardless of who starts this week.
Yep.
We will see two. And I don't think Brady Cook makes it. I mean, what was the year that we played Oklahoma State and Mason Rudolph could barely stand up and they threw him out there, and after like 3 series they were like, all right, we gotta pull this dude and throw somebody else. Like if they do something like that, Pine will be in and we'll see 3 quarterbacks, because we will end up seeing that young kid at some point, because Drew Pine, I mean, he will toss the ball and jump balls along the side, and he'll do it 3 or 4 times a game.
Yep.
I don't know if y'all knew this. The AP Top 25 just dropped. And guess who's not on the AP Top 25
They dropped.
right now?
They dropped out.
Missouri has been removed from the top 25.
Yep.
Which kind of upsets me. I wanted the top 25 win, but whatever.
Yeah. Well, I think you could thank Louisville for upsetting Clemson on that one.
That's true. Louisville pulling that W on Clemson, dropping them down and getting themselves back in there. Vanderbilt is now re-ranked again, after their once again win against them.
Everybody thinking that Clemson's offense found some stuff out. No, they just started playing some cupcakes. Dude,
they were 10-point favorites against Louisville. I thought that was they're going to be 10-point favorites for the rest of the season, and I don't understand how the heck they lost that game.
Louisville is that game. Louisville is that K-State type of team that if they put their game together for a week, they will beat anybody.
Yep.
That's a fair point. That's fair. So yeah, we no longer have Missouri's not ranked. South Carolina's on the cusp of being ranked, and if they play this week well, they're going to finish ranked this season. So Illinois and Missouri both fell out of the top 25 because other teams got the deserving spot. So, Brian, let the people know where they can find you and all your great content, especially the Oklahoma Drill. Let them know where they can find that.
Yeah, Oklahoma Drill over on YouTube. Me and Jesse Crittenden do our best to put a decent podcast together. It's fun, man. We just have fun over there.
Y'all do great.
Find me over there at OU Insider. And then, HeartlandCollegeSports.com if you're a Big 12 person. We got that all week long, too. I'm on Twitter, BClinton40. Hey, guys, it's been a long time. I appreciate you having me back on. Need to do this more often. So
absolutely. I'm glad things are going better with the family, with your son. If you follow him on social media, son is home. They've got testing coming, but he is looking good. We got to see him, so we're pretty excited to see that. So, all right, we're going to wrap it up, put a bow on it. Thank y'all for pulling up as usual. Hit the like button. If you're new to the channel, subscribe, rate us, review us, give us 5 stars. And with that, we will chop it up with all of you. We'll be live, depending on Coops, probably Wednesday night again. We're going to go back to Wednesday night. I'm going to go ahead and go back to Wednesday night. I should be around. We're going to get back live this week. We'll talk about Missouri. We'll talk about the injury report, because I'm just praying that there's a couple of names on there that says probable. If they say probable, I'm going to lose my mind. If they show up on that on the injury report Wednesday and it doesn't say probable, we will not go live on Wednesday. We're going to go live on Thursday, because I'm going to probably drink and cry that night. With that, we'll chop it up with y'all soon. Peace.